The message behind the music. I'm Lisa Alligas, and you're watching Newsmakers. In this edition, we learn about Storyteller Songwrights, events designed to let listeners get the lowdown on lyrics of the songs of local bands. Joining us to talk about Storyteller Songwrights are Caleb Miller, a musician performing as Vagabond Grove, and musical artist Trevor Smith. Thank you both for being here.
Thank you.
It's exciting. This is something new. So tell us, what was the impetus for starting the Storyteller Songwrights Collective? Because that's what it is. Yeah. Trevor, you want to talk about that?
Yeah, so it was June a couple years back, 2024. Before that, I had been asked to put together a show. And I wanted to put together a show that appealed more to what I preferred to do, which is play my own music. And also, I don't really want to play 2 hours straight. So I thought, I'll invite some other songwriters to come play. And so that's what I did. I got a hold of 3 other songwriters, and they came in and we sat on a stage in a row and we just told the story of our songs. A part of the reason that I wanted to implement the storytelling part of it is because I felt like whenever people hear songs for the very first time, they may not connect with it, right? And so story is a great way to kind of ease that unknown between the song you're getting ready to hear and, having heard it for the first time. So I've just found out that really connected well with the audience. People would come up and talk to me afterwards. There was one period where I think about a year later, a guy came up to me, I don't recall him from the show. He's like, "Hey, I remember you from the show, and there was a song you played where you sang about this and that." He's like, "I tried to find it and I couldn't find it." And albeit I don't have it on the internet, the point is he remembered it because of the story that I told around the song. So from that point forward, I started trying to get as many people on board as possible. And within a short amount of time, I had about 30 different songwrites that came and played alongside me on the stage. And it was a very spiritual thing for me to experience. Most times I've played in the past, I've been in a band, it's you and your bandmates and you play together always, and someone is playing something that complements you, whereas in this, it's not. You are a part of someone else's performance experience. So it was, profound. I enjoy watching people play. I enjoy the eclectic nature of how the different genres mesh together in a showcase. So it's just kind of over time compounded into this thing that became more than just about me wanting to play my songs. Caleb came around probably about the third showcase, third showcase, and played alongside. He would come and watch. But then after a while, I'm like, this is so much more. It's more than that. I'm getting a chance to get to know songwriters in a way that I never had the chance before. Again, being in a band, you're kind of in that compartmentalized thing where it's just you and your endeavor. Whereas with this, I'm getting to know other songwrites and getting to become friends with them. I mean, I wear their shirts. I want to support them. I want to take my spotlight and shine it on them and tell other people, you should listen to this because it's amazing. And Joplin has an eclectic and amazing songwriting talent pool that most people don't know. I've come on behind the bands. Thank you so much. I thought I was going to mess it up, but I've come on behind the bands, which I think is great. Again, for up and coming
It's the same
musicians.
idea. It's the same concept as learning a little bit about the artist, also learning about where those songs come from.
Agreed.
What's the inspiration.
Agreed.
So.
Yeah, and again, the audience can better connect with the story, and then they listen to the song and enjoy it for the artistic part of it. But there's so much more about this that has just become over time that at this point, it's just trying to get musicians in front of audiences who are willing to listen. And
so you still have about 30 members of the collective, or more?
We are approaching 40 at this point. We still have a waiting list for people who want to be a part of our showcase. It is by invitation. All you have to do is come sign up. You need 5 to 6 songs, original songs. Sign up, and then as we continue to put together these showcases every month, we try to invite 1 to 2 new people into the collective. That's the entry point, is through a showcase, and then we try to get at least 2 alumni to perform as well. So there's a little bit, if anybody's done it in the past, they're more comfortable with it. Anyone who's never done it are a little more nervous. And so I think the mix is really well. And plus, you get to invite new people in, and they get to know old, I don't want to say old people, but no one's old, right?
Veterans.
So, veterans, thank you. Folks who have done it before. So, I think the camaraderie that it's built has been another side thing that I never really considered in the beginning that I think now is really healthy for our local artistic community.
Yeah, and I mean, when we've talked to the bands before, in just finding bands, it seems like band members often shift from band to band, and so knowing each other is probably, it is kind of a community of musicians already.
Yeah, and that's what I fell in love with first. Again, he started this thing a couple of years ago, doing a show every month, and I jumped on probably the second one. I played several after that, and I fell in love with it, one, because it was frankly, one of the only opportunities I got to actually see other artists. Like I'm a working musician. I play pretty much every week, mostly either my own solo show or the band, and that's the only person performing. Occasionally I'll do shows where it's like 3 bands on the bill, but for the most part I don't get to see my friends play like ever. And of course I fell in love with music because I love it, and so it's the kind of curse of loving something so much that you don't get to do it anymore. You don't get to go to shows. And so I love the idea of getting to see other musicians perform while I also got to play my own music. And more than anything, like, people showing up to a show that is for original music for local artists is huge. You know, it's great to play covers out at gigs, but most of us, our passions are, those of us that write, our passions are that music. And getting people to show up to a show just to watch us do that is one of the best feelings in the world.
Well, and as someone who listens to new music, it can be hard to know, like, wait, what are they singing about the first time you hear it? And especially if, you know, I mean, if it has a lot of sound to it, it's nice to get to know a little bit about
like
the
when
song.
you play those cover gigs, like, people will connect with it because they know the song. They've heard it 100 times. But if I just wrote a song and I never performed it before, there's no chance everyone's going to hear it. Even if I have played this song, probably the majority of people still don't know it. And so it is an opportunity to bring you into the world that I, you know, kind of was in at the time that I wrote that song, whether it's a recent song or it's a very old story, whatever it may be. And, you know, make you feel those same feelings, hopefully, that I felt in those moments, and understand why I wanted to put this down into a piece of music. And that gives that audience, I think, a really, really cool experience that you just don't get at a lot of shows.
Yeah, do you get good feedback from those who've come to these
Absolutely,
Sure,
we do. Yeah, after every show, and I hate the bustle of having to get out of the venue. I do want to talk to people, but a lot of people do come up. They're very appreciative for one reason or the other. I love it whenever a songwriter will go out into the crowd and then, like, people will come up to them and talk to them about the song, and it's usually some connecting moment or some connecting factor of, like, what you talked about. I've had in the past, I've played shows, and a lot of what I talk about is my story of, you know, where I first started playing music, what I used to write from, the place I wrote from, and then what would you call it, like a transformation in the way that I wrote happened at a certain point. I shifted from dealing with negative parts of life to more, you know, thinking about the positive sides of life. And, you know, this person came up to me after that, and there's like, I really enjoyed that part of, you know, your performance was the storytelling, and then hearing the songs to accompany that. So, you know, I mean, it is a soundtrack in a way to a story that I'm telling, but I do get positive feedback, and I know the other Songwrights do as well, and I absolutely love that. My parents have become fans of this. They've come to, I think, the last 3 or 4, and they, you know, they're in their mid 70s, and they, you know, they have their style of music that they appreciate. So for them to come and enjoy something like this, to me, is profound in the nature that, you know, like, they could just sit at home and listen to the music from their youth and enjoy that, but they come and they enjoy these unique artists and listen to them for the very first time, and then they talk about them, you know, like, well, this, you know, I really liked her, and I like that sort of thing. So it really is an 8 to 80s experience, 8 to 80 experience. We try to make it, you know, family friendly as much as possible. We don't censor artists. You can, you know, if your song is this, that's your song, be artistic. But we do want people to know that this is for everyone to come and experience. I mean, this is art.
All right, guys, well, let's talk about the first annual Night of the Wrights coming up August 14th. So tell us about how that evening will work and who's going to be talking.
Yeah, so this actually started off as my album release. I'm putting out a brand new album called Dawn on that same day. And I came to Trevor and I said, hey, any chance we'd want to do something Songwrights related? Do we want to do something as a group? And between him and our buddy Joe and a bunch of other folks that have gotten involved, we've just ran with it and tried to turn it into something quite a bit bigger than that, if you want to.
Yeah, so Caleb and I have been kicking a lot of ideas around, and a part of what we've thought about is like an annual gala might be a strong word, but something that would be annual, that would be bigger than our traditional showcases. You know, while our intention is try to, you know, elevate the presence of what we're thinking of as local fine art, you know, like people putting effort into audio versions of art. we want to also pay homage to the visual side of things. So we want to marry the two. So we're doing a showcase. He'll be doing a full album for his album release, but we're also going to try to bring in makers, we are bringing in makers of all walks of life. So painters, photographers, sculptors, any part of the handcrafting nature of art, the physical nature of art, to be a part of this event with us. So the Wright itself, the word Wright is W-R-I-G-H-T, which is another word for maker or creator or smith, if you will, not to say my last name, but it is a way for us to try to spread, just more awareness of local arts in general. And then we have other things that happen in this community, like Porch Fest is one of them that does the same thing. But we're doing it in our own kind of way. So we're going to marry local music with that in a small, intimate setting at this point. We're bringing in some food vendors, drink vendors, things like that. It'll all take place out at the Sterling Event Center off of Zora. Again, this is our first attempt at this. So Caleb and I are musicians, all right? Just that we're musicians, we're songwriters. So we're learning a lot about the process of putting together events. And we're doing that with the showcases, but this is a much bigger take for us. So right now we're looking for sponsors interested in being a part of this event with us. One of the things that makes our showcases so great is that it is supported by the local business community. We're looking to local businesses to help us. So we are sponsored by Palin Music. They provide us a PA. We've gotten financial support from Swimworks. They help us pay our songwrights. Anyone who comes and plays gets paid to play. It's not a lot, but we want to make sure that people are compensated for their time. We think that's important. And what else am I missing?
So while he's having an album release, so will there be other songwrights there talking about their music?
What you'll see is we'll have doors open about 5 o'clock. Again, it's August 14th at the Sterling Event Center. That will be when the whole Makers Market, food trucks and things open up. About 6 o'clock, which is our normal time to start our showcases. We'll have a showcase featuring Trevor here, as well as the majority of our core songwriters, the members that have kind of helped put this on, are going to be performing. So we'll have Cole Doris, James Weaver, and Zane Grimes as well playing on that show. So you'll see 4 different songwriters performing their original music, telling their stories, all that good stuff. And then I will be doing a full band performance of the whole album about probably 8 o'clock or so. And we'll wrap things up after that. We're also partnering with that. I think I wanted to mention that with our sponsors. I think some of the other sponsors, Eagle Eye Printing has worked with us very well. Jody Hendricks from Hendricks Red House Guitars has worked with us a bunch, as well as Southwest Media Management. And all that really helps us to make this a free event. It is officially free. We are accepting donations at the door. All that goes back to both putting on more Storyteller Songwrights shows, as well as our friends in Eco Savvy Insights, which we'll be on later to talk about what they do. So again, free show, but we absolutely are accepting those donations, whatever you want to give for that. It just helps make more of this happen and makes our community a little better place.
You brought up Eco Savvy, so it makes us good transition time. Grab your guitar.
Absolutely.
And we're going to be taking a little break here. We're going to talk to your charity partner in a moment, but we'll be talking about the future of the event as well. So Caleb, why don't you play us into our break?
Absolutely. I'm going to
one of your new songs.
Do a new song that's coming out as of taping. It's this upcoming Friday, July 24th. This song comes out. It's called Found Myself. It goes a little bit like this. Lost my keys last week. Baby won't let me forget it. Lost my head last night. Time I really did it. Lost my way a time or two. Told the locals I was passing through. Lost myself with no excuse. But I found myself dreaming. Found myself screaming less and less. Found myself loving the girl of my dreams. Home again. Found myself loving friends. Found myself a little piece of paradise. Lost my shirt, of course, betting on a losing horse. Lost my inhibitions, total recognition. lost my heart to strumming strings, beating drums and bellowing. Lost my phone and my ID, ain't it a luxury to have? Found myself dreaming, found myself screaming less and less, found myself loving the girl of my dreams, found myself home again, found myself loving friends, found myself a little piece of paradise. Dreaming, found myself screaming less and less, found myself loving the girl of my dreams, found myself home again, found myself loving friends, found myself a little piece of paradise. Little piece of paradise. Little piece of paradise. Woo! Thank you. Hey, Caleb and Trevor here from Storyteller Songwrights. We're a local songwriter collective presenting the inaugural Night of the Wrights. Local bands and musical artists share their messages and the meanings behind the lyrics of their songs on August 14th.
This event will include 4 of our veteran songwrites in a showcase, a performance by Vagabond Grove and the Drifting Heads, a maker's market, food trucks, and raffles with proceeds going to charitable partners. Come on out to the Sterling Event Center just outside of Joplin on August 14th from 5 to 10 p.m.
Welcome back to Newsmakers. The Storyteller Songwrights event will send proceeds to a nonprofit organization. Joining our conversation to discuss that is Kimberly Barker with Eco Savvy, and returning with us are Caleb Miller and Trevor Smith. Welcome, Kim.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks for being here. Well, tell us about the mission of Eco Savvy and how long has this organization existed?
Yeah, we're actually a pretty new nonprofit. I think we got nonprofit status, I believe, in August. And yeah, our mission is to create a more sustainable future for our community and just inform our community about just the environmental issues that affect the Tri-State Mining District.
Which can be water for sure.
Yes, water, lead. Where a few of the projects we're involved in right now are the Galena landfill in Galena, Kansas. And we're also helping with the data center group oppositions in Sarcoxie and Joplin. And we're also investigating the Prospect Village project that they're trying to put in Joplin.
Yeah, there's a lot of debris left over there.
Yes, it's on the site of the former International Paper Company,
Yeah.
so there's a lot of hazardous waste.
Left over, yeah.
Yes.
So, Trevor and Caleb, why was it important to you to partner with this nonprofit?
Well, I can't help but say that I'm close friends with them both, both the members of it. But I think the thing that I really loved so much is the compassion for the community and what they're trying to do. They're trying to advocate for things that are very complicated, and that the general population may or may not even realize is I would say a villain in their backyard. Whether the intention is maleficent or not on behalf of these companies, the important thing is making sure that it's dealt with in a respectable manner, and that we have eyes on these things and we're not ignoring them, because the ramifications of not being careful right now, decades down the road, will reap terrible side effects. So I do appreciate investment in the community, and that's a part of what the Songwrights mission is.
Yeah.
Is try to invest in the local culture of the community. But one of the missions of EcoSavvy is Operation Birthday Cake. And, you know, from my past, I know what it's like to be underprivileged and to know that children can get a birthday cake, and not only just get a birthday cake when their parents may not be able to afford it, but it's also sourced from local bakers. So under the model that they have is all about sustainability, and what better way to create sustainability than to invest in your local community. So spending money, you know, dollars come in through charitable donations. You know, our endeavors have been to raise money for that mission as well, but we take in local dollars so that they can spend them locally to provide a birthday cake to a local child that would otherwise not have one.
That's awesome. So, Kim, how will EcoSavvy be involved on event day? Will you have like a table there? Will people be able to learn about your organization?
Yeah, we have a booth, and we have brochures about our organizations. We have business cards that you can contact Kaylin or I. We also have coloring books that we made with a local artist. Everything we try to do is local, so we try to promote sustainability. With Operation Birthday Cake, we're teaming up with local bakers who use locally sourced ingredients, and we try to give that back to underprivileged children in our community. I think we've given out 34 so far.
Oh, wow, that's really neat. Yeah. So what does it mean to have this kind of support for a group like yours? I mean, funding is always an issue, right?
It means the world, and I think it's actually really cool that our environmental nonprofit kind of goes hand in hand with this. You wouldn't think it would, but it's all about supporting local.
Yeah.
And I think both our organizations do that really well.
Yeah, in a lot of ways, we're kind of about sustainability too, in a musical sense, because if we don't have new writers making new music, then we don't have new music. It's plain and simple. Yeah, we can all play old stuff all day long, and that's awesome. But if we want new music, we have to have new. And if we want our society and our community to continue to be happy and healthy and thriving, we've got to take these steps. We've got to work with folks like our EcoSavvy friends here to do that. So it's been really fun.
Really cool. So how can people learn more about your nonprofit?
Yeah, we have a Facebook page, EcoSavvy Insights. We also have our website, ecosavvyinsights.com. Like I said, we'll also be at the event. So if you have any more questions, you can reach out to us.
So let's talk a little bit about the future of the collective. What are some of your goals, you know, after this? Because this is just one event, but you're a continuing effort here.
We are practicing as a nonprofit. Our intention is to not make money off of music or local arts. What we want to do is try to create opportunities for local songwriters to come up. So, you know, you go to lessons as a kid, you learn the instrument, and then at that point, what do you have? You can go play in a cover band, you can learn other people's music, but one of the struggles that I remember having is learning to write music. I don't know that a collective would have been my answer, but if it had the opportunity to go be a part of a community that's focusing on writing music, it might have opened up more doors for me. So that's what I personally am endeavoring to do, is to create opportunity for up-and-coming songwriters to learn the craft, get comfortable in an environment with other people that are part of their, I would say milieu, but a part of their endeavor. People that have been playing most of their life to people who have been playing for a year. We accept anyone at any level to come play. While this isn't a open mic per se, we are interested in bringing in talent of all ranges so that they can get comfortable with public speaking, so they get comfortable with creating a stage presence that's, you know, helpful to them. Storytelling is imperative to making a connection with people. That's one way that people do connect.
And you know, it's always usually the lead singer of a band, but you were saying, Caleb, that, you know, now sometimes other artists, they don't usually come out front and talk about it. So it gives them that exposure to learning how to do this.
For sure, yeah. We were talking a bit before during the break that, you know, as much as we have a lot of like newer artists that come up and get to perform next to somebody who's been playing for 40 years or somebody who's been playing on the road for a decade or whatever, and get to kind of learn a little bit from those people. I also have a bunch of buddy of mine that have, you know, a couple that have come in that are in bands, used to performing, sing all the time, write their own songs, but they're used to playing with the full band behind them, and they were kind of nervous, kind of not sure about how to do this show where it's just you and a guitar telling your story. And that is really true, because it is honestly probably one of the scarier things than getting in front of on a big stage in front of a bunch of people is to be by yourself, trying to tell your own story and be honest and true, and then perform that song afterwards. And so this is really fun to get to see different people at different spaces, some who are just incredibly comfortable doing this, others that even if they've performed for 10 years are still very uncomfortable doing that.
Yeah, it's kind of an icebreaker. I mean, they do say that they had the #1 thing that people fear is public speaking, even over death, which is kind of crazy, but this would give them that opportunity.
Yeah, probably the first real piece of advice I got when I played one of my first gigs, probably 18 years old, was you need to talk more.
You just keep playing song
Because I would say a song, I would maybe introduce the song, and that was about it. And when I started doing that, which I really didn't start really pushing until probably 3-4 years ago, I started doing a lot more storytelling, talking about not just my own music, but also I'd tell stories about some of the covers that I'd play. And I realized all of a sudden, more people were coming up and talking to me, more people were buying merch, more people were giving out, throwing me tip money and stuff. And I realized there's something about this, connecting to people and telling your real, true stories in more than just performing the songs. That really, really connects to people. So.
Instead of getting to know the artist, you feel like they know you.
Yeah.
So tell me, I mean, what is your inspiration when you write music? I mean, do you what do you tell people when you're out there and you're like, hey, this is how I came up with this song?
Yeah, it all depends, of course, on the song. Some of them are very straight stories. There, I can tell you exactly, this came from a 5-second or 5-minute, maybe even moment that happened to me, and I can tell you exactly what happened. Some are a little
broader. Did it come flowing out, or did you have to work at it?
In some cases, yeah, like it depends. Some of them are like they're right there, and I can tell you the story in the song, and I don't even need to really give you a whole bunch. Others are a little more of a fight. But also, we sometimes talk about just like the songwriting process too.
Yes.
A lot of times, occasionally will ask a question of everybody performing, hey, how do you write songs? Because everyone does it a little bit differently. And so when you come to these shows, sometimes you are going to get a story from somebody. Sometimes you're going to get more of we might talk about the meaning behind the song, because some aren't really stories, some are more just, this is a song that means blank, and we might want to explain that a little bit. Or you might hear people talking about just literally how they picked up the guitar, sat down at the piano, whatever, and wrote the song, and what that process looked like from the chords to the lyrics to the melody, and that's a whole lot of fun as well.
Yeah, and as storytellers, I mean, does it sometimes that the story comes first, or that the music comes to you and then you find the story to fit the music?
I think it's just, both of those ways. I know that for my writing style, a lot of times whenever I play, I will just play music and not really think about what I'm doing. And I think disconnecting from it helps me be more unique in what comes out. And then the words are more like utterances of sounds. And then those sounds start taking shapes to words. And then those words start giving me themes. And those themes force me to, kind of fill in the blanks. And then eventually when it's done, it's more like I wrote this song about this experience that I had, but it all came from a place.
But sometimes you didn't really mean to write that song. Yeah. You just ended up being like, oh, wow, that's what I needed to write today.
It's
even
like
if I didn't have a plan.
Jackson Pollock or something.
You just find out what happens.
Stuck.
Yeah.
It's a fits.
Absolutely.
It just looks like squiggly lines.
Excellent. Well, let's remind everyone about the night of the Wrights, time, place. Do people need to get tickets, or they just show up?
Yep. Again, August 14th at the Sterling Event Center, just up here on Zorro Road, outside of Joplin. No tickets required. It'd be great if you go to the Facebook page and RSVP so we know how many folks to prepare for, but it is free. We are taking donations, though, at the door if you want to give to both what we are doing as well as what EcoSavvy is doing. That means the world to us.
Food trucks will be there.
Yep, we'll have food trucks. We'll have various vendors there, and of course, doors will open at 5 o'clock, music at 6, and then full band performance at 8 o'clock.
All right. Thanks for sharing us all about it.
Yes, thank you so much.
All right. Well, that wraps up this edition of Newsmakers. Thanks to all our guests, and thank you for watching. I'm Lisa Alligas. Good night.